the cultural belief, what the team believes, what the organization believes, actually does determine what happens.
I wish this session was we had this session earlier before, because I've taken a lot from this session, especially the gods, because what is ruling my team or my organization is the gods of hierarchy.
What methodology did we use to bring socio-cultural change in years while implementing a project that had to involve reorganizing the client/customer interactive standpoint? So
the god of politics is the order of the day. Like you have people doing the work, and then others are just running around to be recognized, and then at the end of the day, it is those that are not even doing the work, but because they are playing the politics very well, are being recognized.
I believe so much in customer relation, because I believe that is where your money will come from. So, hello everyone. I just want to be sure, if you can hear me, please kindly identify and let me know.
Yeah, I can hear you. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Oluwatobi. Good evening, Rahim, Oluwashibomi, Emily, Nafisa. How are we doing?
Good morning to you all. Good morning, hey Tibo, all good?
Yeah, I know it's morning in some parts of the world. It's good evening here in the UK. Good evening, Emily. Hi, Angela. Hi, Emmanuel. All right, good evening, everyone. I trust we have a good day, and welcome to the second part of this section, the management goals. Last week, I don't know if there's any of us who can remember 4 of the goals that we made mention of last week. Anybody? Hi, Josephine.
Hi.
Hello.
I know but I can't wait to watch the video. Go ahead.
We've not started, we're about to start. So I was waiting for Oluwashibomi to give an answer, but I think we just have to start now.
Yes, please go ahead. Wow.
All right. Okay, so like I said last week, and I made mention, we established 7 common goals of the management, which are not written, they are not visible. They are things that they are goals that you will know and you are going to meet. They are goals that you work with day in, day out, and they are the major determinants of your growth and your success within anything. So, do we have anyone here who can mention 3 to 4 of those goals that we made mention of last week? Just to be sure that we're all following and we're on the same page.
Okay, I think I remember one, God of innovation.
Okay.
For God's sake, no, God of innovation. What else? Guys, help me now. For God's sake.
Just going to do a rundown on the goals.
What?
Yes, please. So at first, we started with the God of hierarchy, where here title matters, top-down decision-making system, authority determines the truth. You understand? Your CEO can't be giving a suggestion and you say you have an idea. Most especially if your CEO is a rigid individual who wants everything to be in their own plan and way. Do you understand? So hierarchy is very, very important. I just use that as an example. I'm not saying your CEO is a rigid boss. You understand? And also, we made mention of the God of speed, where everything needs to happen ASAP, happen immediately. You have some kind of boss whereby they give you a task and they expect you to complete it within the time frame. Even though it's not visible, that you can finish such a task. They just want you to get it done as soon as possible. And thirdly, we talked about the God of data, where I made mention of Amazon. They are very big in data and they run their business around data. I started that as an example last week for us. And here, the God of data believes so much in data reality. If whatever suggestion you are bringing, analysis, no matter how beautiful your strategy is, if it's not backed up by data, it's not going to be accepted. And four, we talked about the God of customer. Here, customer is the God. Even if the customer slaps you, you still have to say yes, ma'am. You understand? And even if the customer insulted you in a way, whichever way, you have to adapt to the customer terms. So, and here, this culture constantly asks the question, what does this mean to the customer? So whatever suggestion you are bringing to the table, it has to make sense to the customer. You understand? We call it a customer-centric God. And we talked about the God of innovation, which Josephine mentioned, even though she didn't mention the rest. So here, the God of innovation, in this culture, ideas are actively invited. You know, they experiment a lot, they do a lot of experimentation, and the pilots, prototype, and the proof of concept thinking becomes normal. So here, it is very important, if you work within this environment, you have to be on top of your toes, because they will have strategy meetings whereby they expect you to give an input. And imagine you going to a meeting week one, any suggestion, you say, I'll get back to you. Week two, any suggestion, I'll see what I can do. By the end of week three, my dear, you have to start looking for another job, because they'll see you as an individual who is not productive. You can't work in such environments. You understand? And I'll give a very good example of that, because I've been there before. KPMG, for instance, they are very big at this. There is a particular arm of them whereby you have to work and be on top of your toes at all times. And the next, we talked about the God of risk avoidance. This, you find it a lot in insurance companies. You find it a lot in financial industry. Let me just put it in general. You find it a lot. And if we narrow it down to department, we can narrow it down to the finance department. You as a project manager, you've done your homework, visibility study, everything is beautiful on paper. You understand? And there's a budget attached to your project. You've passed it down, to the department, and the finance department is just sitting on it and telling you, my dear, as a company, we don't think, what is the ROI? That's the first thing they will be asking you. You understand? What does this mean, to us as an organization? Their own core assignment is to protect the organization. You understand? Is to protect the organization. And we established that most times your strategy is not bad. Your strategy is not worse. It's not as if your strategy is not important, and what the project you want to do is not good for the organization. However, if the finance department gets to see it as a threat in terms of finance to the organization, they will just put it down. You understand? So, and the next God is the God of politics. Oh, this is very, very powerful. The God of politics in every organization, even from your family. You understand? There's the God of politics. You understand? So, not to talk of your organization at large. And in your organization, it is very, very important for you to understand this God, because your growth within any organization is being determined by this God. This God is one of the major determinants of your growth within any organization. Number one, I cited an example last week whereby you are working your heart so hard, you are doing everything possible to get your job done, and you are doing it well. However, someone who is not doing as much as you is being recognized. in such a way whereby they are doing staff award, they are doing events. The company, the organization have one event outside. They need representative. They should look out. You will be expecting that. Of course, I should be on that list. Because I know my job and I do it well. You understand? However, they are not calling you. They are not even seeing you. Your name is not even on the list. Why? Someone who is not doing as much as you, based on relationship or based on the knowledge that they have, the capability, of them knowing how to manage and move around these gods, has placed them a seat on that table. So it is very, very important for you to learn this God of politics, amongst every other God. I don't want to sing now. They say among other gods, who is like you? Among every other gods, you need to learn this God. It's very, very important. Very, very important. The informal structure, every organization have an informal structure. There are stakeholders, there is internal alliance and all of that. We know, you understand, there's a structure of the organization, there is hierarchy, there's everything in place. However, if you know about this God of politics perfectly well, some weeks where it is compulsory for you to be at work, you can decide to stay at home and the God of politics will just come out to play because you've learned how to manage them. However, this cannot be possible without you having a good relationship with your subordinates or with your superior. Do you know that your subordinates could be more powerful than you within your organization? I cited an example last week whereby you have been employed as a project manager or a consultant to work on a particular project within an organization. There are people within that team that they've been there for the past 20 years. They must know something, and something must be keeping them within that organization for the past 20 years. You need to have that at heart. And also, you getting in there as a boss on top of them does not mean you are more influential than them. You understand? There's something that they know that's still keeping them there, and there's something that is pinning them down there. So we're going to get there, and then we're supposed to dive into the coalition of gods, whereby every organization will establish that no organization have one singular God. No, none of the organization operates on one singular God. You could find God of politics, you find God of hierarchy, you find God of data, you find God of customer. You understand? In one singular organization. The most common ones there is the God of risk avoidance. Risk avoidance, God of politics, God of hierarchy, and God of customer. Right? So we're going to get in there. So what happens if the gods, if they collide? What happens? How is this being resolved? I told you last week that one of the reasons why we have a career called people's management, right? People's management, change management, you understand? All of this revolves around managing these gods that we're talking about, right? And this is where things get, especially exciting and interesting. So gods, when they collide, most organizations, like I said, they don't serve one God, and different functions, departments, team operates under different belief system. For instance, now, me as a person, I believe so much in customer relation, because I believe that is where your money will come from. I believe those are the people using your products. However, what about the internal team? People who are making it possible for those customers to see you. Do you understand? What about them? What about their welfare? So when that happens without acknowledgement, the result is not healthy. It's not healthily diversified alone. It is a structural friction. Team begins to misunderstand one another. They misread intentions. They get frustrated, with one another, and this does not happen because people are bad or incompetent. It does not. Sometimes it's just because of management, right? Like I said, that is why we have people's management and we have conflict management, which is one of the job. If you are a scrum master or a project manager, you don't understand what is called conflict management. By now, your thing should transfer you back to the beginners class. To be honest. And anybody that is watching this maybe later, you want to understand what it means to manage people, conflict management, resolution, and all of that. You can read back, to their name. They will put you through on how to get started. It happens because they are optimizing different values. When they collide, sometimes, like the example I gave, you have a beautiful proposal on how to take an organization forward. You've drafted everything, you have your cost evaluation, you have everything done. However, maybe the God of hierarchy just feel when you were doing your presentation, you were being pompous, or he just feels something off about you. You understand? And every organization have one or two people or a team whereby whatever you want to do, no matter how brilliant you are, if that thing does not pass through their table, it's not going to be done. Every organization, they have it. And that is why I said, God of politics, God of hierarchy, you don't want to joke with them in every organization. You need to learn it. You understand? And you learning how to manage these gods is going to be a whole masterclass on its own, a workshop, and I believe Josephine is already working on that. And this does not happen because people are bad, like I said, or incompetent. It happens because they are optimizing different values. Conflict between teams is often not about personality. It's not just about you. You understand? It's about individual differences. You, for instance, like I said, for me, I believe so much in customer. I believe so much in data. You understand? Somebody else might believe so much in internal team. You understand? The welfare, the progress of their team is all they know. They don't want to know anything else. You understand? And that does not make them a bad person. And that does not make me a bad person as well. How do we then manage these jobs? You understand? It is not compatible cultural goals operating in the same system. Let me show you one of the clearest example that we might have. We have the product team, we have the finance team. I've been talking about it a little bit. You understand? And the team often, serve the goals of the product team. They serve the goal of innovation. Because for you to bring out a product, or we want to design a product, we want to build an app whereby you can see the moon in real time. You understand? You want to see the moon, you want to see the activity, things that are going in there, and all of that. Those are, they are kind of projects that it demands finance, and delegation of other teams before you could achieve that. It's an innovation. You understand? The God of innovation. However, you cannot do that without passing through the finance team. You understand? And this team, like I said earlier, they worship what we call risk avoidance. Optimizing for stability, compliance, financial protection. These are what they worship. You understand? Finance, by contrast, often serves the God of risk avoidance. It values control, compliance, stability, and protection. And to that team, unchecked experimentation they can feel is dangerous. You want to build an app where you can see the moon in real time. Have you done it before? Do you have an experience in it? How do we sell it? What does this mean to the organization? You understand? What does it mean to us? What if this product does not sell? What do we do? How do we make the money back? These are their worries. And that doesn't make them a bad team. Oh, that team, I don't just like them. You bring everything, you do research, you've done everything. But they're telling you, look here, this is what we can do and this is what we cannot do. Is there anyone here whereby you've been within a team, maybe your team deals with, anything social, whereby you're having a program, you've done your budget, you've done everything, beautiful. You've reached out to everybody, you've done your visibility study. In fact, you've even gone to the venue that you want to go. Everyone has worked, and you put down your proposal and they tell you, you see, that's all that you've looked at. A hotel, right? I'm sorry, we can't afford it. What we can afford is Ojuelegba Primary School. We can use their field, to get the event done. Beautiful, and everybody will be happy. You understand? There are projects like that, whereby the finance team will tell you, they will give you another suggestion, even though it contradicts the purpose of your event. Because how can you tell me you want to do an event, maybe a book launch or an opening of a new arm of your business, where you are inviting the governors, you are inviting the elites. You understand? You are inviting the elites to come to your program, and they are telling you, go and use Ojuelegba Primary School field to do such event. You understand? So you have done your homework, but they have looked at the finance and what the organization can afford at that particular time. You understand? Neither of the team is wrong. Like I said, the problem is not disagreement. The problem is the absence of the shared framework that helps each side to understand what other is protecting, which is what I explained earlier. And that is where leadership becomes essential. That is why you are here. Like I said to you last week, none of you that is here, none of you is a low-level manager. You are a senior manager. In as much as you have one or two persons that you manage, you are a senior manager. You understand? It becomes very more clear, in our case study that we just give now. And the next thing we're talking about here is the agile transformation in a risk-averse bank. This is another case study for us to look about here. And this case study, I so much love this case study because it gives more clarity to what we've been talking about, even from last week up till now. The major financial institute, they invested heavily in agile transformation. The methodology was sound. The training was comprehensive, beautiful. They've called Josephine and the team, come and train our team. This team, we want them to be grounded. We want them to be good in this and that. But the transformation failed. Why? Why did that happen? Because the dominant cultural goal remained risk avoidance. You've trained them. Oh, this is how to be the best project manager in town. This is what you should do. This is what you should know. This is what you should look out for. However, governance layers stayed in place. The governance, they are not changed. You can change the team. If you change the team and you do not change the leadership, you will get the same result. If you don't take anything from this meeting, if you change the team, the mindset of the team, but the mindset of the leadership remains the same, the result will still be the same. You understand? Approval chain, it will remain untouched. Because you've educated the team on what to do. Now they are coming out from that, from that masterclass, and they are being like, oh, now I know what to do. I know where to go from here and all of that. And they went ahead, to just do their strategy and come up with everything, And at the end of the day, the senior manager just tell them, this is rural value. This is not acceptable. We can't do this. This can't fly. A lot of senior managers use that word. They will tell you this cannot fly. You get it? So compliance culture was unchanged. So, team performed agile ceremonies, stand up. You just be doing meeting upon meeting, retrospective, sprint ritual. You do everything possible. But the real decision making still moves through traditional control structure. So, one of the things that you must take note of, you being a coach, you being a project manager, what have you, as you change the team mindset, you also have to educate the senior managers as well to be able to strike a balance and ensure that everything that they've paid you for, that you've gone there to do, is not a waste of time. You understand me now? So the methodology did not fail. It's not as if the methodology failed. It didn't fail. But the culture required to support it was not transformed. You understand? And that is what we're talking about. Agile was treated as a process change. It needed to be treated as a cultural change. Agile coach, they consulted you. Oh, this thing, they need to do better. They need to do this, they need to do that. However, have you done your investigation? Have you done your evaluation of even the senior management themselves? Why is the team failing? You get it? Why is the team failing? Are there anything that is affecting the team even before we go into this training? These are questions. So if you go walk into any organization, be it a consultant, be it an employee, you understand, and they are telling you, oh, now that you are here, we believe in your capability, we've gone through your profile, we know you are grounded. Listen to me. If you don't do this thing that we're talking about, and you just went straight with the team, oh, maybe it's this guy is slacking, it's not, you don't know the job very well, let's change him. They change the guy. If they like, let them bring their mobs, let them bring the best in the world, right? That thing will fail if you don't treat agile as a cultural change. If you're leaving it at the process level only, it will still fail. And that brings us, to the crucial leadership lesson of this section. And that is the culture resist change. Culture resist change. So methodology really fails because of poor designs. One of the poor designs is you as a person who have been employed as icon of change. You are looking at it from the perspective of the team only. You're looking at the process without the cultural change. So this can be because of poor design. It's a very poor design. They fail because the dominant cultural belief system was never identified. Like I said earlier, if you don't identify the cause, the reason why the team is failing, or why the team needs change, or why the team needs development, you understand, that is still going to fail. So you need to, first of all, one, identify the cultural belief system. Two, never challenge and never transformed. It's very important. This happens to us a lot. As my project manager, as agile consultant, as change manager, you just get into a team and you believe, oh, the Almighty God is here right now, and everything will still begin to manifest. My dear, you need to relax first. You need to first of all identify the key factors of why this team is failing, why this team needs to do better, and you also have to let it be known to the team. Trust me, if you see your friend that is doing something bad, and you are just trying to change the person, it will never work if you've not made them know the reason why they need to change, and the reason why what they are doing is bad, and how it can affect them as a person. And until the time where an individual or a group see the reason for a change, that is when change starts to happen. Until that time, change will never happen. Right? That means diagnosing. You need to diagnose first. Naming the tension. You need to name it. Okay, let's name it now. What is the problem? Oh, salary increase. Okay, no problem. Why do you want salary increase? Oh, the economy is hard. Bag of rice before, they're selling it for 80,000. But now, bag of rice is now 200,000. How do you want me to cope? My landlord has been calling me since yesterday. I need to pay. I said that 80 months ago. So these are the things that are affecting my work. And how is it affecting my work? Because my salary has not been reviewed for the past 2 years. That could be one of the reasons why the team is failing. And why is that happening? Go back and check that's finance God. That God that relates to finance. Or maybe the organization cannot afford to accommodate 20 staffs anymore. And they are struggling to let anybody go. You understand? So let me not digress too much with examples. Okay, let's move forward. And then leading the cultural dimension of change, not just the procedural dimension. Transformation is ultimately a leadership act. For every leader to be successful within a team, within an organization, even within your family, right? You need to have that transformation skills. Transformation is very, very ultimate at an heart. You understand? And one of the most valuable leadership role in this process is what we're going to be talking about in the next slide. And that takes us to cultural translator. The cultural translator, the most valuable leaders in complex organization, which every one of us will work, and some of us will still work, right, are cultural translators. Those who are able, who have the capacity, the intellect, the knowledge to identify and capacity to be able to translate. You understand? Those are the most valuable leaders within the industry. If you've not been there, you need to be there as quick as you can. Most especially if you work within an organization that they are so keen on these 4 gods. Let me identify them again. The God of politics, hierarchy, data, and customer. You must be able, to transition into this. You must know how to translate cultures within an organization for you to be successful. They understand that the same initiative must be framed differently for different cultural audience. Let's use this example of, for instance, a commercial bank. You've been working in a commercial bank and now you are going into an insurance company. Beautiful, you are the best in your team. Now you've gotten a bigger job, a bigger role in an insurance company. If you use the same culture from that commercial bank and you take it to the insurance, right? And you believe to get the same result, trust me, you're going to fail. Right? An innovation culture means one kind of language. Hierarchy culture needs another. And a data culture also needs another. You got of them all because nothing will fly without finance. The risk avoidance culture needs another as well. So this is not manipulation, it is intelligent leadership communication. You need to be able to itemize and identify them. Once you identify them, then you translate. And after translation, we need to now start talking about solution. How do you then resolve this? How do you then manage this? Right? So that is why you are here, and that is why this community, this platform is very, very important. It helps you to reshape your mind, and it helps you to advance in career. You understand? What you know or what you think you know, it helps you to know best. Right? This it is the ability to present a genuine idea in a language of another belief system. so that it can be heard, respected, and acted upon. You understand? That ability is very, very important. Absolutely important to every leader. And that is how good ideas become implemented into reality. If you've been able to identify the goals of hierarchy, you know how to deal with them. You know how to do the goals of hierarchy. In case you don't let me go back again. Your stakeholders, your senior at work, your CEO, anyone who has a say or a voice in an organization. Let me just put it in quotes like that. Because there are some people, it's not about the title. God of hierarchy is keen on title, yes. But there are some people, in fact, you will even say you are more up there than them, but they have a voice within the organization, and you have to learn how to manage them. You understand? So, what does a cultural translator actually needs to be good at? What do you need to be good at as a cultural translator? So let's talk about that in the next slide. And one, that is the skill of we're talking about the skill of cultural translator here, and they have 4 essential skills that we've identified that I'm going to be talking about quickly here. First is cultural awareness. I made mention of this slightly previously. Cultural awareness. You need to be aware. What are they doing here? How are they doing it? Don't just come and say, I have read it. Lucy taught me in class. This is the way she taught me, and this is the way we are going to do it. This is the procedure. You know, there are some people that are very good on paper. They just tell you, this is what I read, and that is how we are going to do it. The ability to identify which goals are operating in a team or function. Very, very important. Please, you need to learn it. 2, stakeholder alignment. I made mention of it. Stakeholder. In fact, that stakeholder puts in quotes everyone who has a voice in an organization. Understanding what each stakeholder is protecting, building coalition across cultural divides. The third one is the narrative translation. The narrative translation reframing the same message in the language of receiving culture without distorting its meaning. Here, there is a culture you've identified, you've aligned with the stakeholder. You must learn the ability to be able to reframe it, without you destroying anything at all. That they won't see it like, oh, it's when she came here now, everything just turned upside down. And there are teams. If you are a football manager, if your team wants you to lose 3-4 matches so that you can be sacked, they will do it. No matter how smart you are, if you like, remove Ronaldo, go and borrow Messi from where he is and put there, you will still fail. You understand me now? So you must not be seen as a leader or a senior who reframe things by destroying a particular system. Please. And the fourth one is decision clarity. Decision clarity, creating clear rules of how decisions will be made when goals are in conflict. Very important. In fact, if you don't know conflict management, please just run quickly, go and meet the elite admin and get started. I promise you, it's not you will not regret it. You need it. And together, these skills form the operating system of elite leadership in cultural complex organization. And to make this practical, here is an example. We have an example here that alignment model that we can use, you understand, to make it more practical. And that takes us to the next slide, the cultural alignment model. So this model, because of our time, we're going to just run it quickly. Step 1, identify cultural goals. Map the dominant value and the key influencers. Two, spot the cultural frictions. Locate the tension points. Where they have the problems, locate them. Where different goals are colliding. At what point? What is actually going on? What happened? At what point? What do you want? Okay, what is your own interest? Oh, they want to. There's a position that is open. They want to. Oh no, I don't want them to. Maybe the guy does not want them to just employ so that it can be the alpha and the omega of that team. Maybe he knows that if they employ somebody else, they will have an option. Know the interest of the stakeholders. Know why they are colliding. You understand? And step 3, align priority. Match culture to the strategy objective of the organization. You need to do that. You understand? What is the core objective of the organization? What is the organization trying to achieve? You can't be telling Dangote who is trying to build a refinery and trying to expand. You understand? Trying to expand this refinery, and you are telling him that, there is a warfare that they are fighting in this thing. You think maybe he will be interested or he won't be interested. The guy is there, he's trying to even serve the Nigerian market and to export as well. You understand? So let's not diverse too much. It's 2 examples because of our time. This is not a one-off exercise. Cultural landscape shifts over time. The leaders who revisit this model regularly are better. They are better and they are able to anticipate conflict. You can anticipate. Once you are there, you can be able to diagnose immediately, and solutions will start coming to you because you've learned it. You've learned to manage it, and you've learned to give solutions to it as well. And you are able to shape the culture intentionally. Before we close, I want to bring this back to your own reality. Take a moment again and reflect upon everything that we've talked about, upon all the goals that we've made mention of. What God rules your organization? What God rules your team? Take a moment to reflect. And are those belief systems aligned with strategy? Are they aligned? This is where cultural risk often lives. In the gap between what an organization says its values and what it's actually rewarded. You get it now? This line where we talked about, you've been working so hard, but somebody else is being rewarded. You get it now? So if you can see the gap clearly, you are already a strong leader. You already have that strong leadership position that many people they never even get there. You get, and that leads us to the core takeaway of this section, which is the organization runs on a belief system and not logic alone. You have all the logic in life, you have all the strategy. However, the organizations have their own belief system. I know our time is fast spent, and we're just going to be rounding up. And it explains what happens within an organization. True. However, culture determines what actually does happen. You have the logic that you want to work with, you have everything to do, and all of that. However, the cultural belief, what the team believes, what the organization believes, actually does determine what happens. And let me leave you with one final reflection, which is, before we close, we'll go back again. Let me leave you with one final reflection. Which God rules your organization today? You are in one organization, you're working for a finance company, a tech company, education, ministry, whatsoever. Not the ones that are written in policy. We're not talking about the ones that are written in policy. Not the ones printed in value statements. You understand it? But the one that truly shapes behavior, influence decisions, and determine what succeed. And if you had the power to redesign your organization structure, which belief system would you choose to strengthen, rebalance, or challenge? Be careful when you are challenging. Because culture is never neutral. It is always shaping outcome, whether internally or intentionally or unintentionally. So here we are now. Thank you so much for your attention, guys, and your engagement. I would like to open the floor now for one or two questions because of our time, so we can reflect and discuss around everything that we've been discussing about since last week. And as you respond, I will invite you to connect this framework, to your own exercise, to your own experience. Which part of the model feels most familiar to your organization? Reflect on that. Where do you see the cultural tension most clearly, and which belief system are you helping or limiting or performance? So this is often where the framework becomes most powerful, because once leaders can name the culture, as a leader, if you can name the culture, you can begin to shape it. Thank you so much, guys. The floor is open now. Josephine.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. I really, really do appreciate it. I don't take this time that you've given to us for granted. I deeply respect you. Thank you so much. The time is fast spent, but we can spare another 2 minutes to ask questions, right? I know it's fast spent. Apologies, guys. But let's use 2 minutes to ask questions. So who wants to go first? Immediately, very brief, short, and straight to the point.
Thank you, Solomon. I appreciate this session.
You're welcome.
I wish this session was we had this session earlier before, because I've taken a lot from this session, especially the goals. Because what is ruling my team or my organization is the goals of hierarchy. I wish this session was done a long time, like earlier. But it would have changed my mindset. It would have changed some things that I had wanted to do. So I appreciate this session a lot. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Do you have any other person?
Noreen.
Yeah, thank you very much. I can't emphasize enough how much you have encapsulated, what's even as a budding project manager I've suffered. You learn all the techniques, you learn all the methodology, but when it's time to implement, you miss some things that you don't even understand, what is happening. So, yeah. Where you got me especially is the part that Agile is a culture. It is indeed a culture, because when you draw a very, very beautiful project plan and you want to implement it and nobody wants to even move, they don't even know Agile. I think it's I've been in a situation whereby the sponsor didn't even sign the project charter.
Wow. And
let's just say I left that project within 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, because the guy kept on changing it. And one day he asked me, he said, "Did I appoint you as project manager?" I said,
Wow.
I said, okay. In that case, I don't know what I'm doing here. You don't know what you've done. But and again, please, this methodology, I really need to. I don't know if we're going to have a class where you're going to teach it, because there was
No, please, let's wrap up. I'm sorry, the time is
okay.
This is the first
Okay, sorry, just 30 seconds, please, because there was an application I was filling, and they did ask us what methodology did we use to bring sociocultural change in while implementing a project that had to involve reorganizing the clients slash customer interactive standpoint. So I need to understand this methodology better. Thank you very much for a very wonderful presentation.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes. Sorry, I need to chime in. So, Isa, you see this question, you are gonna answer it inside the community. Yeah, please, I beg you. No,
right.
Don't be angry. So I know there's someone who raised her hand. Let's have the lady, Amaka. I don't know if you're still ready to maybe ask your question or just make a quick contribution.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Solomon. My question is, let's just go straight. My question is, if you're working in an organization where the god of politics is the order of the day, like you have people doing the work and then others are just running around to be recognized, and then at the end of the day, it is those that are not even doing the work, but because they are playing the politics very well, are being recognized. So in such a situation, what do you do as a worker in such an organization?
Yeah, I don't know if we have 1 or 2 minutes.
We didn't. So this question, sir, please note it. I know you're also working with your team. This is not big man. You get team where they on standby. They monitor this call. So please, sir, you are gonna answer it inside the community. I apologize.
I apologize.
We want to end the call now. I am super grateful. Thank you for the second run that we had. I've learned a lot myself, and I'm going to go back to the recording. Thank you so much to everyone who joined. You guys know I love you. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening, and bye.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.